Hello everyone, welcome to Narene's Life with MS. This is Narene and it's time for what MS taught me. And before we start with the content, I know my hair looks a little weird, looks maybe from a decade that we might not want to return back to. That's what happens when you have curly hair and you just put shampoo. This happens. This like I said, a decade that you don't want to, that we probably don't want to return to. Do mention in the comment section what decade that might be. But of course, let's begin with what MS has taught me. And today I actually had a very interesting sort of realization, because it never occurred to me why it happened. So I'll just go on with the story. So when I do my morning yoga, a lot of times, I'm on my tummy doing certain asanas, especially one that, the cobra, for example. So for that, I need to be on my stomach with my legs sort of out, right? And a lot of times when I, kind of have my legs straightened out, imagine if this is a foot and say this is the ground, my foot is like this. A lot of times my feet would hurt when they would be in that position, and I would not know why it would hurt, right? Supposedly there shouldn't be a reason. Today my yoga teacher was kind enough to actually check why are my feet hurting, because I would generally feel pain, right? Pain where I feel like my toes are being crushed, and it just so happens that my foot was crooked. All I needed to do was flatten my foot properly. So rather than putting it right down on the ground, it was kind of like this. And so it was just the pressure of not only these toes kind of coming together, but also imagine the rest of my body weight, however many kilos that is, weighed down on top of it. And once I realized that and I corrected my foot's position, suddenly the pain went away. And that made me realize how far along my foot has gotten, to the point where a lot of times, even while it is at rest, it is generally tilted, that I literally need another pair of eyes to just watch my feet. Just watch my feet to pretty much make sure that they are positioned flat on the floor. And right before I started this video, and I literally started this video thinking about, what my hairstyle was looking like, I had to fix my leg because it was tilted. It was tilted in such a way that I knew that it was going to hurt. And not only that, but as of now, as far as I can see, I don't have bunions, but I'm pretty sure, considering that it actually showed up on Instagram for me, something to correct bunions, but considering that showed up on Instagram for me, I'm pretty sure Instagram knows that the way my foot is positioned, chances are that, I might get a bunion sooner or later. So it again becomes more of a wake up call when, when you don't realize why your body is giving you certain signals, right? And for me, that signal was very loud, very clear. It was happening for weeks and weeks and weeks, where my foot would hurt when when it was just resting, right? When I was lying down on my stomach, my foot would hurt, and I just never knew what was the reason. So sometimes, if something hurts, just ask someone for a little bit of help, just so you know what is maybe happening, what is causing you the pain, the discomfort, because chances are, once you do know, you're at least a little more aware of, why it's happening. And now that I know why it was happening, I think I've become a lot better, at least in one part of yoga, right? It'll probably take me years and years to even get back to what I was, before COVID, before a certain year, before a lot of things. But one thing is, tomorrow's yoga session is going to be a little bit better. It's going to be a little more comfortable, just because I know the reason why my toes were hurting, right? It's those little toes that were causing me so much discomfort, because, you know, I just didn't know my foot was kind of doing this when it was supposed to do this, right? So it's very important not only to question your discomfort, but on top of that, on top of questioning your discomfort, ask people, just ask people, why might I be feeling this way, right? And a lot of times you'll be surprised. I mean, now that I know that, my foot is, you know, a little worse off, at least I know that, the one thing, what are some of the telltale signs and how to pretty much fix that. So that was the main thing that I did want to talk about. That, if you are experiencing discomfort of any kind, don't only keep it within yourself. Ask people why that may be. Ask people, is something wrong with how you are standing, seated, lying down, and you'll probably get a very good response for why that is the case. So that was, one of the biggest learnings I had today in itself, right? It's not, I mean, a lot of times the past many weeks I have been sharing certain lessons that MS had taught me, but those were like years in the making. I'd probably learned it in my first year, second year of having MS, and then me just remembering, oh yeah, I remember that. But this is a live lesson. This is a lesson that is a few hours old, and it's great that my brain actually retained that information so that I could actually share it with you. So I hope you can actually take this and maybe use it in a way that benefits you. And maybe, besides that, I'm pretty sure you might have also learned this lesson. So do tell me when you learned this lesson of not only questioning, or not only being okay with the fact that you're in discomfort, but questioning why you were uncomfortable at that time. And then on top of that, maybe asking someone, why do you think I am feeling uncomfortable right now? And chances are you might get a lesson and you might learn something. So that was a little bit of learning that I had. And believe me, this is, I mean, I'm, 3 weeks away from literally celebrating my 17th year of MS. So it's maybe a little too late to actually have learned this lesson. But do tell me if you learned this lesson maybe a little earlier in your life. Do share when you learned it. And of course, with that, share your thoughts, your insights, your experiences, so that we can get the conversation started. And of course, with that being said, this is Naren with MS. I am Naren, and here is me wishing you a good night, sweet dreams. I hope you're having a great Tuesday because, oh no, it's Wednesday. I hope you're having a great Wednesday because I will catch you tomorrow. Bye.